What's going on, guys? Can you hear me all right, Corey? Is my audio good still?
We
Okay,
got
cool.
it.
We got it. Cool. What's going on, guys? DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between entrepreneurs and real estate investors alike, helping them understand cryptocurrency, which we feel like is the biggest opportunity over the next few years, and it's not even close. So, welcome. We're pumped to have you guys on. It'll be fun today. Jump into open mic. So come in. We'll drop the link in the comments. Come and join the show. Be brave. Talk about some of the cool things going on. Corey, take it away.
Absolutely. Corey Geary here, and I am Paul Sachs, an Applebee's eating American crypto guy over here, enjoying the Pulse Chain ecosystem, loving everything that we are dishing up here, everything from the PH ecosystem down all the way to the core blue chip assets. And there's going to be so much more unfolding in the future that's going to be so bullish for this ecosystem. And so I'm blessed to be on this journey with you guys where we're going to use cryptocurrency as a wealth creation tool and use real estate as a wealth preservation tool right at the opportune time to make sure we preserve that wealth and then play the game, rinse and repeat all over again in the next market cycle. So guys, welcome. Come on in. I just dropped the StreamYard. Please come on in and rap with about us. Let's talk about Dane, did Elon tweet about Hex? Man, what was that about, huh?
Well,
Was Elon a Hexican?
what's going on there? He's in, man. He's in. He's ready to rock. He's ready to pump it like Doge. We're on a rocket ship. Another 10,000x, bro. Hold on tight.
You know what fascinates me about that is that there's actually people who buy into it and believe it. Like I'm just like, there was two different buys. So he tweeted, and I subscribe to the I think it's called Hex Whale-bot. You get notifications when a massive buy comes in, and there was two that came in right after he tweeted. There was one for like $252,000 and another one for like 248. So like it was like $500,000 that came in immediately after the tweet. And I was like, you have to be kidding. Is someone actually believing the tweeting about Hex, or is it somebody thinking, okay, retail's gonna get stupid here and buy, and I'm gonna buy in and try to use it as an exit liquidity play? I don't know, right? It's like what angle is that guy coming from? I mean, because whales can be stupid too. They're people.
Oh, totally.
They're people. Not all of them have an angle. Some do. Some are very intelligent. Some are very clever. Like Buck Fiat's a very clever whale. I feel like that's that we're swimming with in our ecosystem. But some of them, not all of them. There's people with money are stupid too. And so like I wonder what that guy's thought process was, because I saw that come in. I'm like, God, and Hex pumped for about a 15% pump, and then it came back. People sold off. I think we were up maybe 5% yesterday, and I don't know what we're up today. I haven't really looked, but it did have a little bit of a pump, and it's like, are people believing this?
Right. When I look at this morning, it looks like we're back to the levels what we were before.
And that makes sense.
That
makes perfect sense that we would be. The sell-off would come in, and then and I mean, I'm super bullish on Hex, specifically P-Hex. I'm nothing wrong with my E-Hex. I got my E-Hex bad, guys. I didn't EES my stakes. They're there. They're waiting. And if there were something when the bull market comes, well, I'm selling. Guys, I'm in this to sell. Just to let you know, like I'm not gonna. I'm not holding 55555, and I don't think Dane is either.
No.
But P-Hex, yeah, man, I'm super bullish on P-Hex. I think it could be, and a lot of our friends think this too. And it's funny because just even in the chat we were just listening to with Dylan and Buck, and a lot of our friends in Puerto Rico think that P-Hex could be the winner out of them all, and it could be. I could see that happening, or it could be Pulse. Who knows? Just make sure you have your bags packed in all of them. For me, I'm going heavily in Pulse right now. That's my main focus. But P-Hex could be the one out of three that wins, and this is excluding any third-party product. Obviously, third-party projects are going to do well too. So it's interesting.
Some of them.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. We got Drew in the chat. Here we go. I'll let Drew on in. What's up, my man? How you doing today? We can't hear you. Can you hear him, Dane?
No.
Okay. Still can't hear you, my man. Might have to undo the ear. Nope.
Nah, still nothing. And sometimes it's finicky. Sometimes you have to go back out and then back in. I had to do that earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
try that. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Corey, on I've seen some tweets. Yeah, this is can I add this on my phone? Oh, cool. So whether Elon meant it or not, we can quote that and retweet it till the cows come home. Just a bit of fun.
Oh, it's good marketing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Do you think though? I've seen some people that mentioned. I think is his name Lex Friedman. He's got a pretty big following, a big YouTube show. There's talks about Richard being on it, and the community was so virulent. Is virulent the right word? Maybe not. But they pushed so hard to make that happen that apparently he's now muted everything Hex related. I think he's blocked Richard, and it doesn't sound like that's going to happen. And so there's a balance between promoting the things that we like, and just doing it the right way, I guess, is maybe the correct way. But I'm for it, man. I think it's fun. It's fun to see. It's fun to ride the coattails of some Elon tweets and see what's gonna happen. I saw Richard; he commented on Elon's tweet and
Yeah.
said thanks. That was that was funny. I like it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
about it.
And then there was memes and videos that came out. You see that video of the young Elon. Like, yeah, I love Hex.com. I was like, what? I had to like go around and play that one, dude. It was so good.
Oh, that was funny. All right, Drew.
Drew, we
Let's see if we
still
can hear
cannot
you
hear
now.
you.
Yeah, nothing. That's weird.
Negative, my friend.
Yeah, Hexport. I have a fondness for Hex.
That's going to be the classic for at least a couple of years, man.
Totally.
I had to tweet that out on my Twitter just so I can kind of like stamp the date. I'll do stuff on my Twitter just to kind of like give myself a history of like what's going on in time, so I can go back and I'm already doing this now. Like I'll go back like a year and see what was going on my Twitter, and I can kind of like get an idea of revisit that moment in time. And I do it on Facebook and I do it on everything. I like
Right.
to try to like it's a good way to bookmark your life as you're going through your journey. And so like I tweeted that out just so I can have that little stamp there.
Right. I like it. I think it's cool. Man, the spaces this morning were really good with Buck and Dylan. I thought they were excellent. Lots of good points. Yeah, Drew's still MIA on the audio. I don't know what's
Yeah,
going
we can
on
see
there.
you, buddy. Can you try a different, maybe a different computer, or maybe just coming on your phone?
Yeah,
Dane's on his phone today because he's at a family reunion. Maybe you could try that.
What were
Nope.
Corey? What were some of the things that stood out to you from the spaces today? What'd you think?
Oh, no, I mean, there's a lot of reconfirmation. I attend every single one of Buck spaces, and I hang out with them sometimes in the back rooms. And in fact, the one night, Dane, when we were in that back room with Motley and those guys, he had come in after you had left.
Oh,
He had
cool.
come in. I know I was about to go to bed, and like it was late, and then he comes in. I'm like, God damn it! I gotta stay. I'm like, so let me stay up and listen. So like, I love listening to him. He's a very intelligent investor, and I love his thought processes. In anything that he is, the way he looks at things, right? And so like this morning, he was really talking about how and this is really bad in crypto. It's horrible. And I think it only exists in crypto. I don't know. Maybe not. It doesn't exist in real estate. I know that. Maybe it exists somewhere in the stock market world. But like the whole idea of FUD, right? This thing that we call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and how everyone's like, oh, you're FUDding my bags, right? It's like, well, aren't you just looking at it from a different lens and maybe trying to be a smart investor and trying to like figure out like, well, is this, a smart investment for me or not, right? The idea of FUD. And I feel like we overuse that word in crypto. We it's like when we try to use it when basically we don't want to agree with somebody, or we feel like, you know, that that it's against anything that we believe in, because we're so cultish. And I don't know, man. I try to stay neutral in all my investments. I try to look at everything I do from a two-sided coin, from two lenses, to try to stay, keep my narratives to the side as much as possible. It's hard. It's very hard to do that, but I try not to go one way in a narrative versus another, because then it's like you go this way in a narrative, and then like anybody comes in and tries to speak against that, then it's FUD, even though it could be true. And so I want to be careful of my thought processes. We have some guys in the community right now who are very hardcore, trying to put the maxi kind of flag in the sand and saying that everything else is FUD. These third-party projects, all FUD. Everything, it's like, no, bro, you're a freaking idiot. We are growing and building. This is not FUD. And so it's very interesting what we're seeing. I'm going to remove you, Drew, until you come back in. I see IDs waiting. And to see what's going on, ID. I love
Hey, what's up, guys?
bro. Man, my PR buddy. We got to meet up sometime, man, when I'm going back to the island in 2 weeks. So whenever you're out there, bro, please feel free to shoot me a DM. I would love to have lunch with you. And, yeah, it would be awesome, man.
I'm in the Midwest right now, so I'm trying to move my property over here because I don't know, man. Like everyone keeps telling me that the market is over and this and that, but like I keep checking the prices, and my property has basically doubled in the 5 years since I've owned it in 2018. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna wait a little more, I guess. So I wanted to add a little bit to what you guys are doing, talking about, because I'm one of the maxi idiots that you guys are talking about.
That's some perspective, man. I love to hear it.
You know what, no ID. Some of the things that you point out are very good. There's two sides to every coin.
Right. Of course.
And you have very good talking points and good, very, very good. I just feel like that that you need to shine the light on. There's nothing wrong with some of the arguments you talk about with the people that they've done in our community, and I love that you really try to shine the light on the whole the regulation stuff and how people are so again, and they call you FUD for that. They're like,
yes, I get. I mean, I get it. That side, I try to talk about it because I used to be this, I want to say, like when I started in crypto, I was like this cypherpunk guy. I used to work at a bank. I was like the guy that I would post at the bank, like buy Bitcoin and like our message boards and that type of stuff. So I used to try to be against the system and all this stuff. And then little by little, I've noticed that it's like, no, it's just you have to kind of walk some type of line that you own it. You have your values, you have what you're learning, and then you apply it in a certain way, and then you use the tools that are out there to your advantage. And then that's what I've wanted for our community. Mostly the things, the funny thing, and every time I get complaints about the way I act, I'm like, well, guys, most of the stuff that I do, it's like what I've learned from like Richard. I mean, like, it's that simple. I've been following the dude now for like 6 years, and I still don't consider myself this like fanboy or like everything that RH says is like, yes. I mean, I try to push back sometimes because that's what I learned from him too. He always says like, hey, just do a little bit of pushback, learn from this and that. And that's what I try to apply to the community. Like when I FUD sometimes, and I admit it, I say it, it's I sometimes I FUD because I do create some type of uncertainty. It's because, number one, either I've seen it because I've seen the regulations against some of these type of platforms, or because I've noticed that, well, the amount of revenue that it's going to come back out of some of these platforms just doesn't justify the amount of money that we gave into some of these sacrifices. Like I've crunched some numbers, and not to bring in any specific project because I don't want to do that. That's what I noticed. So if I see a project that's going to bring, or it brings to Ethereum $2, $3, $5 million, but we gave them 10 or we gave them 20, that I know that if Pulse is at 100% the same thing that it's producing in Ethereum, then it'll take me 2 years, 3 years to see that money come back. So I can hear it. I know, I see it. I know that Buck right now is on Twitter, just rallying the troops, and that's awesome. I like that. But sometimes I feel that it's like, well, I've crunched the numbers too, and I know math. So it's just that's what I say. And I feel that at some point we kind of got away from like the whole let's do Pulse chain, because we haven't even been out for 3 months. And now we're just focused on everything else. So that's mainly the reason that I do that. But that's why sometimes I just need to get quiet and let things just go on their own.
Definitely don't get quiet with your spearheading the regulation talk, because I feel like the community, for some reason, they like to call that FUD, and they don't want to look at it. It's like, but that's a reality that we all need to look at and at least keep an eye on. At least keep an eye on it, right? We got to know where it's going, where it's been, where it's going, what they're trying to do. And I feel like you do that the best out of the whole community. Anytime I tune into your show, you're literally going through the proposals line by line, and you're having talking points about this. And man, no one else is doing that. And I love that you are doing that. We need more. It's just that.
Back in the day talking about this. Yes.
Yeah, we just need more of that in our community, and so like you're the only one out there. And of course, people call you FUD for it. That was one of the reasons why you got kicked out of the back in the day. I remember when you got kicked out of Pulse Chain Chat.
Yes, sir. I mean, the thinking is back in, I want to say 2012, 2013. This was the way. You know what I mean? It was all about the cypherpunks. The government wouldn't recognize crypto, wouldn't recognize Bitcoin till later in 2014, where they decided that Bitcoin was property. So it was just, we were kind of like just these like random, like cypherpunks. But then, like I said, it's just later I saw what happened, for example, when they did the bit license in New York. And that's the one that I think that people need to focus on, because it's like exactly what happened in New York is what's going to start happening January 1st. Meaning now the centralized exchanges are going to have the power to decide, all right, well, these coins are going to be accepted. These coins are not going to be accepted. We're already seeing it with Coinbase. There's 4 states already that they decided, all right, well, we're not going to do staking. So if you're staked right now, meaning if you're in a product that you're doing your stakes and all this stuff, you're good. We're going to get some type of grandfathered in. I don't know if they're going to do some type of accredited investor or I don't know yet. But so far it looks like we're going to be okay. But the sad part is like I'm fighting also for whoever's coming, 2, 3 years down the road. People that
problem. Yeah. The guy who's coming in 2 years down the road who only has 5K, right? Or 10K.
There you go. 100%.
Good morning, guys.
That's exactly. Yes.
Oh, we can hear you, Drew. Yes.
Awesome. Oh, sorry about the technical difficulties.
Yeah, ID, while you're on the topic, when you talk about projects being overvalued, how are you? I'd love for you to. Now, we don't want to talk about any particular projects in that respect, but like, give us an example of the math when you say like something is overvalued.
Oh, of course.
Crunch the numbers. Give us an example, because I think a lot of people, me included, when people say that, I'm like, okay, what specifically do you mean? And I'd love to get an idea of the math.
Beautiful. Okay, so yeah, there's some platforms out there, like let's say DeFi Llama, that they go deep. They give you they crunch the numbers, so they tell you how much you're making in fees, how much you're making in revenue, how much you're making in this, that. So in my mind, I mean, that's a project, number one, that's 100% built, that it came out of their pocket. Someone decided, hey, I'm building this great idea that it costs nobody nothing. And then we're producing it, and then it's going to bring in this much revenue into your blockchain. In our case, though, I feel that since there was a sacrifice phase, that again, it doesn't count and the money goes to whoever and I know that part. but it's still money that was already here. You know what I mean? Like, so in my mind, if that money was used to fund any type of venture, either to whatever, maybe they use the money and they can get in trouble because they use it to build the same project that then they're going to launch, or that type of stuff. That again is not here nor there. That'll probably take 2 or 3 years for them to even know what happened in this time. But yeah, in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if I can go to DeFi Llama and it says that this project creates $1 million in revenue for Ethereum, which is the most popular network or this or that, and I know that we're not at Ethereum numbers. Well, I know we're not going to make the same million or 2 million or 3 million in revenue. And if it costs again 10 million, 5 million, 1 million, 100, whatever it costs to create that or to give and sacrifice, in my mind, it would take that many years, for us to bring that money that was already here. It's like that's my thinking. It's just at one point I know RH used to say, well, I don't want people to build anything. And now I'm understanding what he meant. It was like, well, he probably meant I don't want them to build anything till today. Like now that the network's out, it's like, sure, let's bring in $200 million worth of sacrifice. But I feel that the sacrifice money kind of left before Paulson was even out, and now we're not going to. It's not. Yeah. So now it's not going to be easy for us to just say, all right, how are we going to get us the couple $100 million that we put into all these others? I mean, not me personally, but the community in general put into all these other platforms.
So I'm not going to be able to stay too long in this conversation. I have some other errands to do this morning, but I wanted to touch on a point you guys made earlier when I was having technical difficulties, which you guys mentioned PHEX might be the golden goose in the ecosystem. And this was something I was thinking about this week, is everyone's right now like, oh, Hex is in its second market cycle. No, EHEX is in its second market cycle. PHEX may be considered an entirely new asset, so this might be considered as PHEX's first market cycle. So that's something to think about that I've been throwing around. Like, is PHEX going to act like it's in its first market cycle since technically it's a new asset, or is it going to mirror Hex or EHEX and be acting like it's in its second market cycle? That can vastly change how PHEX performs as far as price go up.
I agree 100%. I'll give you my commentary on that, and then Dane can too. And it's something ID, but I feel like for me, it is definitely second market cycle, but I feel like also we could see it perform like it's in its first market cycle, because I feel like Pulse Chain is the Trojan horse that will bring adoption into Hex. Right now, Hex has been gatekept for so long. People, don't buy into the idea of the T-shares and staking or whatever it may be, and that's a Ponzi. But I feel like Pulse Chain is an easier understood concept in the crypto community, the layer one narrative. And so that adoption will bring more adoption into Hex. It's just going to happen naturally. And so PHEX could be and respond to like a first market cycle coin, maybe because of that. And that's my input on that. But for me, when I look at it, it's definitely, because obviously we're in the community, we've been around, we know. For me, it's a second market cycle coin. Yeah, so that's just what my thoughts are on it.
Yeah, what do you think, ID?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like that, what got us in the first, I want to say year one, there was the different events, big payday, then that we were getting that type of FOMO, and then on here we'll see what we'll do. There'll be new things coming up, probably with PLSX that'll pump Hex that way. But I agree with what Corey said. I mean, I think that Pulse is going to be that tool.
Yeah.
So it's just at one point, I want to say middle of 2020 and some parts of 2021, we already couldn't use Hex. So we need what Pulse is doing.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And I think too, like Hex is Richard's first token, right? So
the baby.
If Hex performs poorly, I mean I think that hurts Pulse Chain. I think you need to keep Hex at least on Pulse Chain I think at least on Pulse Chain, you need to keep it strong. And so, yeah, I think that there's, from my perspective, and once again, we don't give any financial advice on this show. For my own holdings and for my risk tolerance, for me, there's some wisdom in having a certain measure of exposure to hex, because it could. I wouldn't be that shocked. I mean, you consider it this way. So there's so much hex and arguably a huge amount of supply, but a good chunk of that supply is locked up for past this past this bull cycle. And so a lot of people aren't going to be able to access it. They can't do anything with it. And compared to Pulse Chain, something like that, it's interesting where you have far more liquid supply. If I'm not mistaken, when I was looking last, you have more available to supply to buy and sell for Pulse Chain. And so in that respect, I think it's easier to move the hex price, theoretically, and it'll be, man, I'm really excited to see, especially over, at least in the short term. We theoretically should have or could have a DeFi summer type of event where a lot of these new protocols launch. Whether they be good or bad, is up for you to do your own research and determine what you think and what you want to do with your own holdings. But man, I think we could see Hex along with some of this other, especially the newer stuff that turns out to be good. Now we don't know what that's going to be, but the good stuff I think will rip, and I think that Hex could potentially be one of the big winners here, certainly in the short term and certainly over the next few years. So we'll see. We're here for it. We're here for it to see what happens. I'm excited.
I got my bags packed, and that's for sure. And now I'd be willing to
Here, here.
I definitely agree with you guys where I think Hex is going to function more like it's in a second market cycle. And right now I'm buying more Pulse, not more Hex. So I suspect Hex is probably going to pump up somewhere to $1, $2 in that price range. Having said that, if it functions like a market one, I wouldn't be surprised if it like went even higher, acting like it's in its first market cycle. So
yeah, I mean, some of the
be
calls
interesting to
were
see what happens.
for like $10 to $50 Hex. I mean, I would love it. I hope those guys are right. Like that would be great. But I'm not holding my breath either for a $10 to $50 Hex. It would be wild. Not that it couldn't. If Sir Richard wants that to happen, he has the funds to make it happen. And so it'll be fun to see.
That's what I was going to mention, guys. Like, do you guys have any idea if, for example, like the moves that we saw, let's say in Hedron, that staking wall, or that, some of the stuff that, well, not, it wasn't a staking wall, like a liquidity wall type situation. Do you think something like that could happen that could limit or do something with supply of Hex?
I mean, we never know what the OOA is capable of, and he's surprised us in the past. And I feel like he's got some tricks up his sleeve, if you will, where we could see things like that come to fruition in the future. I think right now, I think he's really laying back because, I think a couple reasons, right? And one that you touch on so much is a lot of the stupid regulation that's going around and everything that's why come out in the light when all this crap is going on? Like, head back. And then he's also letting and I firmly believe this, and you hear both sides of the narratives, but I think he's letting the lettuce hands capitulate. Let him get out. Let the non-believers actually, lead the ecosystem, and we'll see things kind of turn around. We'll see maybe some movement like that. I don't believe RH is done streaming yet. There are some people saying that it could, they feel like he is done, and they're going to let, like, he's going to be Satoshi and let the community spearhead the Pulse Chain ecosystem. I don't know, man. I think we might see him again. RH has got the kind of personality and like ego where I think he needs to be in the light. And right now he's doing it very strategically. It's part of the business plan. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think of him and his streaming?
No, I think he will come back at some point. Maybe, once the network has been quote unquote decentralized enough. Because I know that's like the dilemma that used to happen always with Ethereum. After the whole ICO situation. So maybe something like that. Maybe 5 months, 3 months, maybe after the start of 2024, when all this new regulation it's implemented, and then everybody knows, all right, I can do this, I can do that. Maybe I can. So maybe something like that. I would say maybe 5 months, 6 months.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Hmm.
That's kind of my feeling too. I like that time frame. And I tell you, so what do we know about Richard? I like betting on narcissists. I really like that behavior as far as betting on it, because what do you feel pretty confident in? Well, I feel pretty confident in Richard, and he said it right. He likes to be liked. He likes to be patted on the back and get the good old boy treatment. And to be honest, I think just about everybody enjoys that. And
Right.
like it feels good. And so I think that's a really important factor when it comes to Hex and it comes to Richard. I would personally, not that I could be wrong, but I'd be really surprised if this was the last we've seen of Richard. I think Richard's going to want to come back. He's going to want to do victory laps with Pulse Chain, and
Yep.
and see his stuff do well. He's going to want to do it with Hex. Like, he's going to want to come back and say, hey, I told you guys so. I
Oh, he
would be
loves that.
shocked. Oh yeah, I'd be shocked if we don't see more of
He
that.
loves
So,
rubbing in the hater's face.
oh, for sure, and I don't see that stopping. So we see like the more humble Richard, and I'm for it. I actually like the more like OG Richard without the ugly clothes and all that stuff. Like I'm here for that. I like that. But I think the component that's most to me that's one of the most important components about Richard is the fact that he loves to be right. He loves to have the price charts that look the best. He likes being patted on the back, and that's all very bullish for us, for Pulse Chain, for the things building on it, and that's
Yep.
why I mean that's why I bet so heavy. That's why this is where I live in crypto. That's why most of us are here, right? We're here because of Richard, and we believe that he can build something that's remarkable in the ecosystem. I would say I think we're off to an excellent start. I love the life in the ecosystem. I love the fact that for the most part we're being discounted right now. Like that screams opportunity. And so I couldn't feel more bullish. I couldn't be more excited, I'm here for it. It's gonna be wild.
So I'm gonna have to head out right now, guys, but I'll throw in one quick point right now before I go, and that's Richard. He's not gonna say anything right now because there's issues with Pulse Chain. We have issues with a lot of the liquidity pools on PulseX. The bridge still functions a bit slow. The go.hex.com website isn't functioning as fast as he'd like it to. And
There's no
Richard's a
victory
strong
lapping to be
proponent
done
of make things
right now.
work and make them work well. So he's going to spend a lot of time fixing everything, getting it up to functioning to his standards. And then once everything's working really good and doesn't have any issues, then I suspect he'll come out and start doing streams again. But for now, his focus is on getting everything back up and running the way it should be.
That's a good point. I like it. And it's
What was
not
his focus on the last 2 years, if not to make the things work well?
Pretty much the same. But a lot of it, though, is no matter how good of a developer you are or an engineer you are, you're not going to be able to test certain things until it's out in the market. Like, you can't test for everything. There's going to be flaws that are going to be discovered just by people using the product. And that's where we're at right now.
A year and a half of that, Dane, was wasted.
Yeah.
A year and a half was wasted because he built a BSC chain.
Right.
And they scrapped it.
Right.
And then I feel like they were, pressured to hurry to market potentially the last 6 months,
What's the game theory with PulseX? Because that hasn't really changed, right? That's kind of been the same thing the whole time. And these are my thoughts, and I love your guys' feedback. So, I mean, Richard time and time again has talked about rinsing out the weak hands, right? Time and time again, he's talked about that. He's talked about how the Uniswap token was a duct taped on token to Uniswap, how he thought that was garbage. And essentially, that's what he's produced. He's produced a fork of Uniswap with a duct taped on token. at least in its current form factor, in my opinion. And I think this is, like, people want to give Richard a lot of credit for playing 4D chess all the time. Richard makes mistakes like everybody else. Now,
Sure.
there's aspects of 4D chess, but I feel like knowing what we know about Richard, I think that the launch of Pulsex in its current form has to be more of a rinsing type of thing. There's absolutely no reason that couldn't be a banger of a protocol with all sorts of cool features out right now if
Yep.
Richard wanted it to be, in my opinion. And so I think that's a rinsing type of thing. And I think in time Pulsex will be really freaking cool. I think we'll see some interesting things there, but for the time being, he gives up market share to things that in my opinion are better.
Yep. Hunter, what's
All
up,
right.
buddy? Oh, see you, Drew.
See you, Drew.
Bye, guys.
What's up,
Thanks
y'all?
for having me on.
Yep. What's going on, Hunter?
Not much, man. Just trying to DCA
a
little bit. Coinbase is just being lame, dude.
I think today's a good day for a DCA. The charts look good
I
to
haven't
me.
even checked, bro. Is it?
Yeah, the charts are looking good to me. We're ranging in a nice little channel, especially in Pulse, and it's we're kind of coming down in the range of the channel. And I think today's a good DCA day.
Good, man. If Coinbase would stop being weird, I could do some stuff here, but I need more ETH, and I bought more ETH, and now I got to send it. Now Coinbase is being weird.
Yeah.
Go try Kraken. That seems to be a better option, at least in the time being for U.S. residents. Like the ID said, next year it might be a totally different ballgame. In fact, ID, do you have any insights on exchanges that you're aware of that are compliant that you think we might get better service with?
Ooh, great question. It'll be mainly the big names. So I mean, right now it's just weird because it's almost like they're getting shaken out as well too over there, in the sense that once they passed that bill, it was called the IIJA, Investment and Infrastructure Jobs Act. They passed this little tiny portion where people now had to report transactions over 600. They had to get information or sensitive data over 10,000. And then when it came to the exchanges, they had to be now registered as brokers. So there was a lot of exchanges that they just didn't have all the documentation that you need. They needed to have anti-terrorism, anti-money laundering, KYC. They needed to have suspicious activity reports from like the last 3-4 years. And none of them was there. So that's why I remember when they approved that thing, I started telling everyone in the community, guys, I think all these exchanges are going to start filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy because they're going to have to reorganize everything. Yeah. And it's like the government has given them this little, this little, get away free card, which is not working now, because I thought that the first ones that were using it was Machinsky and Celsius, and now we're seeing that he ended up arrested. Yeah, like he had benefited though for the last year, because they locked up people's money for a year. They were still making moves. They were still getting paid. Their lawyers were getting paid and fighting for them with people's money. And at the same time, like I said, they weren't giving away the customers' money back. So he just recently got arrested, and so I don't know how that's going to go. But in my opinion, that was finally a move where all these regulators are finally making a move.
Isn't
where
Crypto.com in trouble too, though?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised. Crypto.com, in my mind, they were doing exactly move by move, matching FTX moves through 2020. So in my mind, one of the moves that they did was they went and bought the rights of the Lakers arena, which it was called Staples Center, and now it's called Crypto.com. And I remember telling everyone in the chat, I was like, that will not be the names of the Lakers arena in 3 years, because it was like the top of the market. And I was like, so yeah, sure. At the top of the yeah, I'm just saying, like at the top of the market, sure, let's start giving money to everyone. But I was like, where is it going to be in 2 years, 3 years, when the market, shakes out some people? And then some of these exchanges, they're always over leveraged. So don't be surprised if in 3 years the Lakers arena is called like JP Morgan Arena, because we're seeing that Yeah, we're seeing that some of these exchanges they get in trouble, and then right away the feds go and give their money to their little buddies in the big banks. Which obviously it's like we know that they're basically the ones that own the Fed, so it's easy to tell them like, hey, just give me all these assets, like give them to me. Because I mean, like we saw what happened with Silicon Valley, they basically eliminated all the toxic waste, toxic assets, and then they gave them a couple $1 billion worth of, so it's like what's going on. Like some of these big banks now are going to be brokers. We're seeing Nasdaq is also going to be under this license. So I guess to answer what Dane was in general, I mean it's going to be this GSIBs, the global systemically important banks or whatever, because now they're going to be officially in crypto. And we saw that basically started last night with Fed now, because they don't call it a blockchain, but it's technically a blockchain. It's just we don't have access to the ledger just yet. I haven't been able to see how I'm going to get in there.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. ID, is there anything outside of the Richard Hart tokens that you are excited about on Pulse Chain, or are you pretty well like Richard Hart only tokens, and that's how you like to have build your portfolio?
Well, when it comes to so far, yes. I mean, I got a little bit of Sen because I heard that Jack is doing his own like network and all this stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let me mint some of this stuff on the cheap days and see if I can like I don't know, just to throw a little bit out there, because like I'm seeing that this is like the new thing, meaning I saw that Chainlink is trying to do this, meaning trying to just do this basically atomic swaps that we used to talk about a couple of years ago. They're just trying to lock up all the L1s and the L2s and the TradeFi or CFI. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just throwing a little bit of money into some of the L1s and see what happens in 2 or 3 years. So I'm super excited that for Pulse too, because now Chainlink is going to bring in some, and then we'll see what happens, because Vitalik had said this maybe like 2 or 3 years. They needed more L1s, that they needed some of the L2s to take out some of the gas guzzlers. So I think that's how they're going to finally balance gas fees. They're going to set up some networks for the gas guzzlers and NFTs transactions and all this stuff. And then they're going to let the L1s do their thing. And then they're just going to connect everything. So yeah, so far that's what I'm doing. So I'm checking out what he's doing and see if he releases in, a couple months or whenever. And then when it comes to Pulse Chain, just checking out what are the platforms that that we have heard about. Some of the lending platforms and staking platforms I've been checking out. I guess that's about it. I haven't checked the other decks. I'm just kind of letting them, because the decks and all that stuff, I always like to let them see how they react. Are they bringing any, any funds? Is there liquidity? Are people getting rugged? So yeah, just kind of taking it easy. Everything else is pretty much in Hex or Hedron or Icosa. I'm just kind of doing like the boring plays, because I'm trying to play this almost like it's 2020, where like at any point in time the market could collapse around us. Like maybe this is the top, maybe not. Maybe we'll go to 60 or 50 grand for Bitcoin. But in any case, what happens, I'm still earning more of the coins that I like.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, that's kind of how it worked for me in through 2020. Like
Right.
the only thing I would have changed right now for what I did in 2020 is obviously I wouldn't go that long. Like my original Hex strategy was like, this is my retirement bag, so let me try to grow it as much as I can using my, the big payday bonus and the longer pays better bonus. But now that I have that kind of waiting for me, then my strategy now, it's probably the 12 months to 3 year strategy.
Gotcha. I like it. That's sound.
Especially with the L1 diversification, because we all know historically L1s do well. Just in general, you can have a shitty L1 and it's going to pump a little bit eventually. It's like even if the Zen L1 is not that built that well, it could still do well. I heard it's a DAG chain. Are you guys familiar with what DAG chain is? ID? Maybe you?
No, I hadn't heard about that.
I heard it's a DAG chain, and so it's a different type of like that. The only thing it's not a blockchain; it's
Uh-huh.
built like a graph. I don't know. And,
Oh.
IOTA is a DAG chain.
Ugh.
IOTA is a DAG
I
chain,
know
so it's
the
going to be
boss would have
similar like
something to say
IOTA.
about that.
I have like this is new stuff for me, so I do want to do a little bit of research and learn about it, just so I learn. But like that to me is like okay, he's
I guess for the Pumpamentals type, what does that mean? Like it would be faster, more secure? Would
I
it
wanna
scale
know.
more?
Right, what does that mean?
I hear you. I hear you. I'm there with you then.
Yeah, what does it mean for my bags? But yeah, so we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Gotcha. On that one, I guess I haven't done as much research as I should have because I guess I've only thrown like 40 or $50 because of the whole minting and and whatever. I figured, you know what, if it doesn't work, I can burn $50. But yeah, so I'm technically not. I guess I had to clarify. I'm not that all in. So if it works out, good for him because I think that. I was one of the, that I was always flooding Jack and this stuff, but I'm like, you know what? He built something, he threw it out there, and if it works and it launches and it does good for us, just good for him, then more props to
power
him.
to him. I mean, I got
exactly.
It's here we go. We got Liam in the comments. He says DAG is a data structure which allows for asynchronous. Dane, can you pronounce that? Asynchronous computation of transactions.
Yeah, asynchronous. Yeah.
Asynchronous. Yeah.
Asynchronous computation of transactions is used a lot in distributed computing. Wow. You know what? I'm going to take a picture of that.
Okay, that sounds fancy.
I'm going to take a picture of that and I'm going to research that ideology there. So I can learn. I want to learn. I want to learn how that can be a benefit to crypto. Is what I want to know.
Liam, jump in the show, Liam, and let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, Paul Sachs. DAG Chain's linchpin has been maintaining consensus. Always breaks them across transactions. Okay, Paul Sachs, if you could come in and talk a little bit more about it, I would love to learn. I want to learn. It's not the same as DAG used in IOTA. It's best to just forget about IOTA since it doesn't really work and suffer starvation issues if the network slows down. Well, and this is one of the concerns I heard in one of the side room chats about the X1 chain, is that DAG is not a good consensus mechanism for crypto. Is what I'm hearing. I don't know. I am very ignorant to this, guys. I have no idea. I want to learn. The biggest open source framework which uses a DAG is Apache Spark. You could start there. Oh, okay, I'm going to take another picture. I'm going to be doing some research tonight.
This is all new to me, man. Like I didn't know who Richard Hart was till y'all told me. So
oh my God. You're coming in fresh.
You guys like, oh, we all know who Richard Hart is. I'm like, no.
Hunter's one of our onboards, ID. He's one of our onboards.
That's awesome.
And, he's actually very ecstatic to be here, and he's building his bags.
Yeah, man. I'm
blessing to bring him along this journey. He's one of our real estate buddies. So yeah, cool. If Liam or Paul Sachs wants to hop in and educate us a little bit more, we would love to learn. I love learning anything, even if it's crappy technology. We want to learn about the crappy technology because we want to learn how to avoid it.
There you go. Here.
I'm learning all about Linux right now because I'm stoked on being a node validator.
Oh,
you're going to be
$10,000,
and I'm trying to dive in the Linux rabbit hole, man.
I love it. And the same way how ID is learning about all the regulations, not because he loves the freaking Fed and the U.S. government. He's learning about the regulations because he wants to learn how to avoid it.
Exactly, man. You got to know the rules. You got to know how to manipulate, right? Or play with it.
Yeah, it's just whatever you don't know, they'll apply against you. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, like, I feel that I'm very invested in crypto and DeFi. And then it's like, well, I feel almost like it's our duty to protect it. Because now I want to say in the last 12, 24 months, they've gone into this mode where it's like the government job to protect me against crypto. And it's like, no, 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 no. We've been here. We've been here. You know what I mean? So it's like you guys have to adapt to the technology that we've been developing now for a decade. And all of a sudden you guys are like they're like our little protectors, like the government, government to protect us. Like, no, no, go do your thing. Go spend some of the tax money.
Right, right. That's a good question. What are you guys' thoughts on the Coast Protocol?
I hope it plans out.
I do too.
It's bullish for the eco. We need direct on ramps into Pulse Chain. We need stable coins. We need something to come around. Now, ID, I would love your input on the stable coin that Coast is producing, and give your true feelings about it. I would love to hear, because I want to hear different sides of the coins. Is their protocol, would it be a problem, you think, problematic for the next year's regulations?
I would be surprised if it's allowed after January 1st, 2024 here in the U.S. The U.S. have taken a weird stand when it comes to stablecoins. This has not been approved just yet, but I don't know how to say this without sounding like a total weirdo, because I'm telling you guys this is going to get approved in like 3 months, and then you guys are going to say how this motherfucker knew this. All I know is this probably came from the top. You know what I mean? Like someone way higher than JP Morgan or way higher than what we see on mainstream media already said this is getting approved, because the way the politicians talk about it, they're all like buddies about it. I mean, these people can't even figure out what type of toilet paper they want in the Capitol building. But then all of a sudden now for the stablecoin regulation, they're all like, oh yeah, we got this bit bipartisan, da 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 da. So the way I see it, like I said, maybe it's just I'm just conspiracy theories like tinfoil wear, but that's how I see it. It's this lady Maxine Waters and McHenry. So it's like they're from different parties, different point of view, different everything. But then when it comes to this, they're all like, oh yeah, we need to talk and we're gonna fix it and we're gonna. So the states have taken this different approach where it comes to crypto, where they're saying they're not going to approve CBDC, but then, like I said yesterday, Fed now started, and today that's a good thing. We're going to know now Saturday. It's going to not Saturday, and 2 days Sunday. We're going to know what that does, because it's going to be the first day ever that banking has had activity on a Sunday, probably however many, I don't know, like 100 years or whatever much. So I'm excited to see that part, because I used to be, the techie at the bank. So I know that, but in my mind, I also see it as that's going to eliminate positions. That's going to reduce branches from being built. So it's going to eliminate some side of the, I feel bad, because it's like the people that are going to lose their jobs, they're not like the banksters. You know what I mean? They're like, they're like my people, we're like the low levels at the bank. So we'll see, because the other thing that could happen is maybe they do approve some type of framework where they say, oh, you have a stable coin, oh, you have this pot of money, you have this surety bond, get this money transmitter license, and boom. So it might be also that newer regulation also makes it easier, right? Because like the way I see it now, it's like you could tell that they're trying to kind of protect the stable coins that are there. They're trying to protect legacy banking, and they're trying to build the new framework where they say, all right, only the banks can handle stable coins, or only these institutions that are registered through SEC or through the new regulatory agency they're trying to build. Like some type of digital FinCEN type situation that they're trying to just bring in. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna depend what is it that they're gonna approve, because this new stablecoin regulation it's approved. It's as much as approved already. They already presented it, I want to say yesterday, and yeah, they're doing a crypto framework newer regulation that got presented yesterday. Then they're doing the stablecoin regulation that like I said, it's just basically stating that the banks have all the authority to do all this stablecoin transactions with. That's what I kept telling everyone. Well, technically, that is the CBDC because it doesn't have to be one specific central bank digital currency. If it's a digital payment system that retail banks have access to stable coins, then the central bank can do transactions through Fed now, and that's like their settlement layer with JPM coin and other coins and other central banks around the world. Then it technically it is. Yeah, it is because it's like there's no gold backing it. They can reprogram it and then they can use it to track it and censor you. Well, what the hell are we talking about?
Yeah,
right?
it's socialism, 100%.
Exactly. So I'm rooting for people like Coast right now because we need people, or like quote unquote, like if it was back in the day, like private banks, or smaller banks that have their own coins that can produce their own, so that it's like a straight competition and it's not all coming from the Fed.
I love it. Yeah, me too, man. We'll see what happens. I know I'm positioning myself, accordingly, just in case stuff gets overly squirrely in the United States. As you know, I moved to Puerto Rico. I'm going to be going down to Panama. I'm going to open a bank account in Panama. I mean, put some things in measure, in place, just because I just don't know the future. So it's
smart man. You're doing it the right way. I mean, in Puerto Rico right now. And by the way, I wanted to add, in the last few days, there's been a little bit of FUD about Puerto Rico in the news. It's mostly the IRS does audit, the people that move to the island. So as long as you're doing the 183, as long as you're you're keeping track of all the little requirements, then there shouldn't be no problem because this has been a program that's been running since 2012. But basically, every 2 years, you can tell now because obviously Puerto Rico's in a bad economic situation, so they're going to go for easy pickings in the sense that they're going to think, all right, well, if there's someone coming in with a certain amount of money, maybe I can find them. They give me some money and then they keep that going. But it's not like they're going to eliminate that program or nothing like that. It's just every so often.
Yeah, just do you cross your T's, dot your I's, and do what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, don't do it. Like, don't go commit to that if you don't plan on committing. I mean, I've even got an app on my phone that tells me how many days I got to be out there for, how many days I got to be here. It tracks me so that way I'm in compliance in Puerto Rico. And if I ever get audited, I'm like, here you go. I was in Puerto Rico my time and over my time, and I got a house here, I got a car here, I live here. It's everything that I'm supposed to do. I plan on committing. I'm gonna commit. It's like, you make a promise. It's like the truth engine in Hex. You make a promise, and you need to keep that promise. That's all.
That's awesome.
What are some countries that are like crypto friendly? That like,
well,
the
problem with the states is that the taxes follow you. So in Puerto Rico, it's basically like a different arrangement that you're doing. So it's in my opinion, it's the only place for a U.S. citizen to go and have a different arrangement, right? Because if you go anywhere else in the state, in outside of the states, you still have to pay taxes. So that's the only reason I keep saying, like, I mean, obviously I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, so I feel that I always like my duty to like send good people to the island. It's like, yes, please go to the island. We need to pump up this economy.
Yeah, I meet you guys because there was some feedback. I don't know who the feedback was coming from.
I think it's from me, Corey. I might jump off because my internet's pretty crappy here, man.
All right, brother. Man, it's good seeing you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I'll be watching though.
So. Okay. Hey,
nice to meet you, Hunter.
I muted you because we didn't know where the feedback was coming from. So if you want to, there you go.
Yeah, okay, I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, I was looking for the show, what's going on, but I couldn't find any link. And then I just like, okay, let's check again on YouTube. And then I found you. So what were you talking about? CBDCs mainly, or?
Oh, we've talked about, everything today. Everything from PHEX to Pulse Chain to stable coins, regulations, FUD versus what's reality. And it's been a great conversation today. I love having ID on because ID is a very knowledgeable person. I feel like he's probably the most knowledgeable in our community when it comes to regulation and what's coming up for us in our and crypto as a whole, not just our ecosystem, but crypto as a whole, and specifically DeFi. So yeah, we're talking about FedNow, the CBDCs. FedNow is just a sentiment layer to get things up and going. And then eventually, it's just the introduction for a full-blown CBDC, in my opinion. But who knows? Who knows?
I'm sure they're working really hard to put this forward to implement more control over us. But at the same time, like it's always depends on what the people accept and what they use. Because you can tell me that this is the best thing ever, but if I don't use it, then there's no use case. So
well,
they really
I
have to
tell you, here's my opinion. How do you get people to use your new money? Well, you start with, and this might sound bad, and people might lash out to me, but you start with the lower class of the poor, right?
Yeah.
You implement. You implement. I remember when I was a kid, and my mom, we had food stamps. I didn't grow up very wealthy or anything, and my mom had food stamps every time we go to the store. She had this book with the food stamps in. And then one day we're at the store and she pulls out this card and uses a card. I'm like, Mom, what's that? Well, it's an EBT card. I think what it's called. I was like, what is that? She's like, well, it's my food stamps. I'm like, huh? You're a little kid. You have no idea, right? And it's like, it was that involvement. Then there'll be one day. The food stamp will be a CBDC. It'll be on your phone. Or maybe it's gas coupons for people who are not making a certain amount of money or food or whatever it may be. That's how you start with a new monetary policies with the lower class, because they're easier to adopt or be sheep into your. And I know people are going to hate me for that.
No, but it's Corey.
Yeah, ID. You got feedback on your.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, but no, I don't think. Even if people are gonna moan about what you just said, then I'm sorry, but mainly gonna be people who are weak.
This is it right here. Eddie nailed it. You start with airdrops. Yes, it's kind of what you do by integrating it into the lower class. Is you're starting with an airdrop, food stamps, gas coupons. Maybe it's veggie coupons. You can't buy meat this week, or whatever control it is. But you give a little bonus as you're going along, and then the sheep will eat that up, and that's how you onboard them. You onboard them into your new ecosystem, and then after that, then you work on the middle class. You come into the middle class, and you start working on, and this could take years, right? And then once you get the middle class. True. Once you got the middle class, well, like for the United States, I mean, that's like the majority of the population. So, idea. I wish you didn't have feedback. I would love to hear your commentary on that ideology. But your feedback's really, really bad.
Yeah, quite bad.
So that's my thoughts, and I think it could take a while. Right now, this is just this is their test net. Their FedNow is test net.
If there's gonna be more and more these kind of discussions, what we make week by week,
we do.
Then people should awake and even be more motivated to get out of that zone what they are in right now, the financial situation or whatever.
Agreed.
I've been down pretty badly too, but you have to build it back up brick by brick, day by day, and then just keep moving, don't stop. And unfortunately, if someone is too weak, or there are some unfortunate people, with certain disabilities or huge financial problems, but there is always a way out. You just need a bit of creativity, a bit of commitment, and you can get out of this. And kind of this is the way how you not fight back, but tackle these kind of challenges what comes to you. And then if they say you have to take this, then you're gonna be like, well, also this guy, the nomad capitalist, he have so many people, just try to grow up to that level when you are like can afford to, I don't know, pay some money for a consultation or just watch the videos what he's recommending. He's got quite a few free videos, and then just take it from there.
Yep, I love it. ID, you're back. Is your sound a little bit better?
Let's check. Test.
Boom, we got you.
Yeah,
Okay,
now
awesome.
you're good.
So, the thinking though is they're putting they're moving the chess moves, in my opinion, is that they are stopping some of the, for example, they're making that everyone that accepts crypto, like Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, all these people, they are having to be compliant. They can't do like what Kraken did in Canada last year. Remember when like they said, all right, we'll freeze some of these accounts, and then Kraken just kind of said, no, we're not going to do that. And then that's the problem, in my opinion. It's that great, we can have this awesome economy, but if we're not having the services and products being bought with our own crypto, and not the way that we're doing now, not transferring money into BitPay or Coinbase card or this MasterCard, Visa card, but someone that's actually either accepting the transactions or validating their own nodes, verifying their own transactions. I mean, that's a problem because, yeah, great, we can do all these X's outside of the system, but then if these brokers decide who wins and who doesn't, or what coins are accepted or what coins are not, then that's also a problem. So it's just I feel that we got kind of away from that, and it's exactly what Corey said. It's just we get, I mean, it's called incentivized, but it's more like indoctrinated, because at some point, Coinbase in 2018 or whenever they started, they were like, oh yeah, what if we give you this free USDC for your dollar? And then it was so easy. I mean, I did it. I mean, the most of the hex that I got on board, it was that way. You could go to Coinbase, it's a free transaction, you do a quick send, it's very cheap, and then you transform it into hex. So that's the thinking, though. It's like I feel that we need more options. We need to have more smaller banks that are out there and that they kind of compete in the market, because at any point in time we can make all these X's or whatever, and then if they can still tell us, all right, well, now you cannot use this money, or you went through Tornado Cash, or we're going to restrict this, or we're going to tax you at 40%, so
Right.
So that's my thinking too. It's like it's bigger. We need change. We need some type of change where all this stuff that they approved that starts January 1st, I don't like it, because I feel that more money is going to come in for crypto. So great, like us that we're here, we're going to be in a really good situation. But like I said, people 2 years, 5 years down the road, they just, they're done with crypto basically, because then crypto for them, it'll be like 401k type investments. They'll be like, oh yeah, sure, you can get into Hex through your 401k and da 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 da. But as far as them having their keys, being their own bank, doing transactions, I don't think they will. Yeah, I don't think they will, brother. I think that we'll be in this specified investor, whatever investor. So we're, we have this ability that we're doing with crypto, but then everyone else will have to be through their authorized brokers.
I agree 100%, man. And so, yeah, man, it's people like you that keeping the light on this as it's rising and we're getting closer to the times. It's that's what we need. It's just more kind of like paying attention and knowing what's going on. Knowledge is power. That's what it is.
Yes,
and so,
sir.
If you guys aren't following ID, I do have to wrap the YouTube up here in a little bit. But if you guys aren't following ID, I would recommend heavily to follow him. He's got a YouTube channel. Is your YouTube channel, is it called Militia? Is that what it is?
No, that's our little group, dude. We call it like Hex Militia.
Okay.
Yeah, the channel is called Blockchain Trends. So either Identity Block or Blockchain Trends on YouTube.
Yeah, and feel free to follow him there, guys. Also follow him on Twitter. I love everything you do. That's especially in the regulation space because it's all eye opener. And even though like some people are like, oh, you're just flooding your bags. Like, no, he's trying to educate the
Yeah,
community
exactly.
on freaking regulation. We need
Yeah,
to
no,
know.
if I get it my way, brother, if I get it my way, I would like completely remove the SEC, brother. So I wouldn't just I wouldn't just remove the regulation. I would remove the whole agency.
That's what people don't get, man. It's so funny, and that was kind of our conversation earlier in the show. And so, Norbert, go ahead and talk about a little about where they can find you. I'm sorry that we were cutting a little bit short when you hopped on. You came here at the last. I got to get going
It's all
here in
right.
a minute.
No, it's like I said, I was looking at Twitter and I was trying to find if it's gonna be a live show today. I went on your YouTube, but
Oh, I don't
there was
always
nothing
post.
there.
Yeah, I don't always post it on Twitter. Like I do. I do when I definitely have special guests on. But like it will always be on the YouTube, and yeah. So
Okay, yeah, it's the same as my as on the display. That's how you find me on a name. I don't really post things that much. Life is still in the working mode at the moment, so trying to build, and moving forward. But yeah, thank you for having me on the show today.
absolutely, come back
And
on next
yeah,
Friday.
next week I try to come earlier, find
All
you
right.
earlier better, and then we can have like a proper conversation. And I wish you all the best in the meantime.
I appreciate it. And ID, we'll love to have you back on, maybe, especially as we're moving along this journey, as we're getting closer to 2024. And we get some of these protocols that are launching, like Coast and stuff. We'd love to have you back on just to have this type of conversation for the whole hour. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Always love this conversation. I always love watching your show. You, like I said, you bring up the documents and like you go line item by line, and you're breaking the shit down and having a conversation about it, and I love that, and I really appreciate that about you. And
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
in the community. So, all right, guys. Well, I gotta hop off. I gotta get to an appointment. So, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, guys. Hit the likes, please, and hit the bell notification. It helps pump all of our bags. We want to be here to bring you the most unbiased, with the least amount of narrative information to you about the RH ecosystem. We love this ecosystem with a passion. We feel like it's the right place at the right time for you and your family to build wealth if you want that. And it's just been a blast to be on this journey with all you guys. I've made some incredible friends too, man, being in this ecosystem. It's remarkable. It's like real estate. It's funny. Real estate made me a lot of friends nationwide. Crypto made me a lot of friends worldwide.
Worldwide, yeah.
It's quite remarkable how that worked out. And me and Dane were talking about that the other day and giving it some thought. And I was just like, man, real estate, just being an entrepreneur, was nationwide. And then crypto, man. The whole nation or the whole world. So, all right, guys. Yeah, you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.